these 3 containers. Now, in one of my previous videos, I said that I was going to do a pyramid where I was going to stack 3, 2, and 1. And even when you interlock them so that they are really secure, the wind here could actually blow them over. So I thought about it and I changed my mind. And I'm going to do, these 3 containers are going to have green beans. I love green beans. I lost my green bean plant. But I'm going to be planting green beans again in a couple of days. So I want to get these containers ready. And I know they look a little weird because they have this pole sticking out of them. And there's a hole right there for drainage. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did this. And this is where the type of setup is self-watering, okay? And this is from Mr. Leon. Mr. Leon is an older gentleman. He has a YouTube channel. I don't know if it's Gardening with Leon or what, but look for Mr. Leon. And he shows you how to set these up. And so I was inspired by his instructions and how he does things. So I'm going to do the green beans over here in self-watering containers. So I wanted to show you how I'm going to do this. And let me sit down here. So this is a PVC pipe, and this is going to be where we are going to be pouring water into the container for the plants, okay? So before we start doing all of that, I have some water bottles. Now, the water bottles, I hope you can see where I put, about 4 holes in the top. And yeah, I put holes in the bottom, about 4 or 5 holes in the bottom. And you put the top, leave the top on it, okay? And then you just set them down and around. So let me get all of these in there. So all of these, I have 10 water bottles in the bottom of the bucket. All 10 of the water bottles have holes, little tiny holes in the top of the bottle and at the bottom of the bottle. Now, Mr. Leon says that when you do that, what happens is when you put water in, the water will go up into the bottles and it will push the top, the water goes in the bottom holes and it pushes the air out through the top holes, okay? So your plants are also getting aerated at the same time. The PVC pipe, he suggested cutting the PVC pipe at the bottom on an angle so that the water can come out. Well, I don't have a CV, a pipe cutter, PVC pipe cutter, so I had a elbow and I put that on the end of the water, the pipe, so that the water can flow out into the bucket, into the container. Okay, so our next step, now you will see that there is some space in between the bottles, and that's for our next step, which is to start putting our soil in. And I'm just going to start putting some soil in. Spread that around. Now, I'm doing this so that I can get the soil. I'm tapping down the soil so it's going to get in between those spaces where the, between the water bottles, and it'll fill in the spaces, and then that acts as a wick. When there's water in the bottom of the bucket, is the soil that's down in, it's not all of the soil, just a little, some of the soil is touching the bottom, and it will wick up the water to the where the roots are, so that the plant will be able to use the roots. The next step is to put a hole in the bucket. I'm going to use my soldering iron. I just had it plugged in over on my workbench, and I brought it over here. I don't have any electricity over in this area. And I'm going to put the hole, a pretty nice size hole, right where the PVC pipe is. And I'm going to put it 3 inches up from the bottom of the bucket, and I'm just guesstimating on that. That might be 2.5, but that is where, from this hole down, that is your reservoir. So that's where I just put the hole in, and I was trying to get it about 3 feet up from the bottom. It looks like maybe 2.5, but that's okay. You can do 2 feet, 2.5. But that's the reservoir. That's the part that's gonna retain the water, and so that the plants can use the water. So now my bucket has a hole in it for drainage, and if I put too much water through the PVC pipe, when it gets to that hole, 3 inches or 2.5 inches up, the water will start to drain out. And that's why I put some containers under the bucket, so I could catch whatever drains out. Okay, so the next step now is I got 1 bucket of dirt in here. And also the reason I put the holes right where the PVC pipe is, so that I will know, I will be able to find the hole and see if when I'm watering, if water starts coming out the hole, then I need to stop. So that's why you put it there by the pipe, so you can find your hole. Okay, I'm gonna finish filling the container. Now at this point, Mr. Leon would put in some Substain, some fertilizer that he uses, but you can use any kind of fertilizer you want. I already mixed my fertilizer. I use the worm castings, and I already mixed it into the soil. I also mixed in Coco Coir and Perlite. And this is all rejuvenated soil. I use the soil in other containers, and when those plants lived out their term, then I reuse the soil. You know, soil is expensive, and I was just at Walmart yesterday, and I wanted to pick up a couple of bags of Miracle-Gro, and it had gone up $2. It used to be $7.98, and now it's $9.98. So needless to say, I left the soil there, and I know that I have lots of pots that I was growing things in, and I know how to refurbish my soil. So that's what I did, and I'm going to finish filling up this pot. I'm doing this one-handed because I tried to set up my tripod and it didn't want to cooperate. And I wanted you to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so that was my second bucket of soil. I'm going to tap this down. Okay, I needed 2 hands to do that, but just tapping down to make sure that the dirt is getting in between the water bottles so that we have some wicking action at the bottom of the container. And what I'm using, this is a 5-gallon bucket. These are available at Walmart. I used to get them for $2, $3, and I'm not sure what the price is now, but everything seems to be going up. So I think that I have enough soil in here. I'm going to water everything down. So let me just turn the watering hose on. And I am going to water this until I see water coming out the bottom of that hole. That's what I'm trying to do. And that way I will know that I have at least a 2.5, 3-inch reservoir of water down in the bottom of the hole. So my plans are for this area here. I noticed that this was, I have a tiny garden, and I noticed that this area over here in front of my storage shed seemed to be kind of wasted space. And that's why I decided I needed to plant something over in this area, and I chose to do the buckets with the self-watering method. I'm just, like I said, I'm watering, and I am waiting for the water to start coming out the bottom hole. Now, Mr. Leon, this is his, I got my inspiration from him. He's on YouTube, and he sets up his garden this way. He uses some other supplies and different things, but this method, he said, he was setting this up. Oh, okay. I'm gonna turn this off because, can you see it? Let's see if I can find. There it is. And that's the water coming out the bottom of the pot. So I have reached that 2.5, 3-inch reservoir, and the water is, any excess water will drain out. Okay. So I was saying about Mr. Leon. He's a really cool guy. He's about in his 80s. And I found him last year, and I wish him well, and I hope everything's going well with him this year. Now, I have these other ones already set up, and I need to keep them watered until I can get the plants in here and get the plants growing, because you want to keep all of your microbes and nutrients and all that good things, other things, keeping your soil moist so that it'll be ready when you're ready to plant. So the plan is I'm going to put bush beans in the middle pot, and I'm going to put pole beans on the outer 2 pots. So let me water this one a little bit. That one's got water coming out of it. I watered yesterday, so they were pretty good as far as having been watered. They just look a little dry on the top. Okay, so let me put this down. I'm going to hang up my watering wand. My 3 pots are watered, and I had to put up the trellis. I needed 2 hands to do that, and I'm using the same ladder mesh that I use on my other containers. And what I'm doing is I'm just using 1, not 2 like the bigger containers, and I put it in the 2 containers, the ends, and shove them down into the 2 containers that I intend to plant my pole beans in, to give them something to grow up. And then in the middle, I'm going to put in bush beans, and they don't need to be able to, you don't need to trellis your bush beans. So that is it for tonight. It's still a little bit hot out here, so I'm going to call it a day. And I wish you good night.